haven't been this excited about a new airbrush in a long time. And this one made me wait. What felt like a grand tour of Europe, bouncing from place to place, delayed, rerouted, delayed again, until finally, the new Giraldes Infinity CR Plus ended up in my caring hands. Steenbeck, in collaboration with Angel Giraldez, pushed these airbrush capabilities to their absolute limits. Has the full potential of the Infinity truly been unlocked and unleashed? Let's find out, shall we? I have to be honest, I am a fan of Angel Giraldez. He is a pillar in the miniature painting community and an absolute master with the airbrush. I own all of his books and I've learned a lot from them. They are not just inspirational, they are packed with real techniques and practical knowledge that actually translate to the table. So yes, there is a bit of bias here. But it's a bias rooted in respect. Angel has consistently been a major source of information and influence in my own airbrush journey, and in miniature painting as a whole. That's why his involvement in a project like this carries real weight for me. And let me be even more honest. I was one of those people who actually liked the older Giraldes Infinity. I thought it was a bold move. Aesthetically, I loved it. It was genuinely beautiful to look at. And more importantly, it wasn't just a stock Infinity with a different skin. There were real, functional changes that gave the brush a completely different feel. The biggest one, of course, was the trigger. The trigger was pushed closer to the nozzle, and the shape of the trigger itself forced you to control the airbrush using only the tip of your index finger, the most sensitive part of your finger. This brush was clearly designed to address the smallest possible detail, where precision and control matter more than anything else. And I respect that. The problem was comfort. 10 minutes of working like that and you were done. It became very uncomfortable very quickly. So while I respected the idea and the intention, it wasn't suitable for long sessions. That was the old Giraldes Infinity, and now we have a new one. After Steenbeck released the new Infinity 2024 platform, it was only logical to assume that long-time collaborators like Squidmar and Angel Giraldez will eventually get their own versions. I already love the Squidmar editions. The artwork is gorgeous, collector-level stuff. But the reason I was so excited about the Giraldez version is because historically, the Giraldes Infinity has never been just a reskin. It's always been about functional changes, not just visuals. So let's go through them. Let's start with how it looks. I already love how the stock Infinity looks. It's a beautiful airbrush. The Squidmar version takes that even further, but this one, to me, this is the most beautiful Infinity so far. The blue handle with the zebra pattern, the texture, the gold accent, the red chucky nut is not just beautiful, it's fun. I look at it, and the Giraldez is inviting me and whispering to me, come and play. One of the most noticeable changes is the shortened main body. The trigger is now closer to the front cap. On the previous Giraldes Infinity, this was an issue because the paint cap was much more angled, leaving very little room for your finger. But on the Infinity 2024 platform, the paint cap is more vertical. So even though the Giraldez version brings the trigger forward again, you still have plenty of room for your finger, especially when paired with the micro cap that Steenbeck introduced. Now, there's something nobody really talks about. There's this idea that the closer your fingers are to the nozzle, and therefore to the surface, the better your detail and precision will be. And yes, there is some truth to that. If you're working on flat surfaces like canvas, illustration work, fine art, or even 25mm Warhammer figures like Angel does, this setup is fantastic. But if you're working on larger, three-dimensional models, Gunpla, scale models, large miniatures, that proximity can actually become a limitation. When you need to get behind the shields, between armor plates, into recesses, or around wings, your fingers and hand starts getting in the way. In those scenarios, a longer-bodied airbrush, like the Evolution 2024 for example, simply works better. So think about what you're doing. Precision doesn't automatically mean closer is always better. Another noticeable change is the trigger itself. I'll be honest, I didn't like the original Infinity 2024 trigger at all. I respect bold ideas and experimentation, but this one didn't work for me. Steenbeck described it as Eastern sensory-driven design, but that idea never translated in practice. The texture was too aggressive, too sharp. Instead of improving control or feedback, it became distracting and uncomfortable. I never felt fully connected to the airbrush while using it. And clearly, I wasn't the only one. With the Giraldes Infinity, Steenbeck kept the same concept but softened the texture significantly. And that was the right decision. The unique feel is still there, but it's no longer aggressive, it's comfortable. I can work with this trigger all day, and I have, without any issues. I actually like it, and it keeps growing on me more and more each time I use it. Knowing myself, I think I'm going to end up loving it. I'm genuinely impressed by how much of a difference it makes compared to the original one. Most importantly, the company listened and made a change without compromising the original concept. They improved upon it. The trigger angle has also changed. On the stock Infinity, the trigger leans slightly forward. On the Giraldes Infinity, the trigger sits at a perfect 90 degrees to the body. This does two things. First, it gives you a little more room for your finger. Second, it slightly improves leverage and paint initiation. Pulling back the trigger translates more directly into needle movement. That said, I don't think this change is dramatic. It's not a night and day difference in response. But it doesn't hurt, and it adds a unique feel compared to the stock version. Just like the previous Giraldez version, the rear spring assembly is extended. The brush loses some length at the front, but gains it back at the rear. Steenbeck mentioned extended needle support for more precision. I mean, how? Honestly, I don't think this has a meaningful impact on performance. I think it was mostly done for aesthetics and maybe balance, and I'm perfectly fine with that. It looks cool, adds character, and makes the airbrush feel unique. And if it's unique you are going for, let me introduce you the RICHPEN 222B Phoenix. The pinnacle of Japanese precision, finesse, identity. Support the channel on Patreon, and for a limited time, get 20% off the ultimate micro detail airbrush. Just follow the link in the description below. I already reviewed the Infinity 2024 when it came out. That was the second airbrush review on my channel, and it earned my first taste of internet hate, because I had criticism. The biggest issue was the spray cone collapsing between 25 and 35 psi. To me, that was a massive flaw. On top of that, the airbrush felt restrictive. Dry tip will immediately chuck the brush, no matter how much I diluted the paint. It felt like the airbrush was fighting me. Compare that to something like the Soter, a brush I love because it's forgiving. You feel dry tip coming, but it keeps spraying. It doesn't interrupt your workflow. The Infinity didn't do that. It will just stop spraying at the most inconvenient moment. Now, has that changed? Yes, dramatically, night and day. Before we talk about what changed mechanically, let me tell you how it feels. The first few lines that I drew on a piece of testing paper with the new Giraldez gave shivers to my spine. The performance left me breathless. The spray cone issue is completely gone. From very low PSI to high PSI, the spray cone stays consistent. That alone is huge, but beyond that, this airbrush is now confident. The old Infinity was responsive, this one is punchy. It has the kind of immediate aggressive response associated with brushes like the Sotar or the Micron. Traditionally, other Steenbeck airbrushes have a very relaxed, gradual initiation. That's not the case here. Everything happens much faster. I'm barely pulling the trigger back and paint is already coming out. The extra kick is exactly what ultra-precise airbrushes need to function properly at low air velocities. Dry tip no longer kills the brush, it keeps spraying. It almost feels like it cleans itself. Everything that was exceptional about the Infinity 2024 at low PSI and fine line precision is still there, now supported by consistency, forgiveness, and confidence. I honestly don't see this setup being beaten anytime soon. So what actually changed? The obvious change everyone talks about is the stainless steel nozzle cap. Other Steenbeck claims that removing the coating preserves internal geometry. That may account for maybe 5%. Honestly, I can't tell the difference there. The real change is the titanium nozzle itself. Under magnification, the differences are obvious. I can't tell you exactly why it works better. I'm not an engineer. But whatever they did, it addressed every single complaint I had. They listened, quietly, and they fixed it. Now, I haven't spoken with anyone harder than Steenbeck, but I fully expect this nozzle design to eventually make its way into the stock Infinity lineup. I can't imagine them keeping this performance exclusive forever, but right now, if you want the Infinities at its absolute best, this is it. Of course, I immediately reached out to Dave Goldfarb to get one of his FFKM seal kits to make it bulletproof and give it a smoother action feel. This airbrush deserves to be the best version of itself. Honestly, I'm still in a state of shock. I wasn't expecting this jump in performance at all. I would have never chosen the Infinity over my longtime favorites like the Sotar, the Micron, or even the Phoenix. But things have changed, and the Giraldes may just join the Spaghetti A-team. This airbrush checks every box for me. It is as perfect as a detail airbrush can be, in my humble opinion. I'm obsessed with it. I want to keep using it. It makes painting easier, faster, more precise, and more enjoyable. Don't worry, I still love you guys. Thank you, Arthur Steenbeck, for bringing this to us. And thank you for watching. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, leave it a like and subscribe. And join me in the pursuit to become the fastest airbrush slinger in the West. Hee-haw!